Hey, what is up everyone? I am Knuckles the Echidna here and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of Knuckles Chaotix for the Sega 32X. So last time we have managed to able to get things started as in the intro stage by simply exploring around on Isolated Island, and also the same applies to 3 full acts during new forms within Botanic Base. And also the same applies to that, we also managed to gather ourselves 4 Chaos Rings so far. So today for this episode is the fact that we are now switching over to Charmy B, the last of the Chaotix members. And it looks like we're now going on to a different level, which this time around is Marina Madness. So even though to begin with, we have to go through Act 1. So even though self-explanatory for the most part though, it's just the fact of the matter is though is that even though sadly that I've managed to able to accidentally pick up Heavy again, which even though this is the second time this has been happening, ever since during new forms within well, Botanic Base, Act 1, as in for Mighty the Armadillo. But you get the idea. So either way though, and let's pick up a shield, so just in case we need some protection, because of, after all, we've only got about 2 more Chaos Rings left, and then once we're able to gather all 6 of those Chaos Rings, then we should be good to go by simply able to actually have the ability to able to guarantee to get ourselves the best ending, because as a result, much like in any other classic Sonic games we all know, then in order to able to get the best ending is the fact that, well, you have to simply collect every single, the most important items. So even then, like, think of like in the, well, the Mega Drive era of Sonic games, that we have to collect all of the Chaos Emeralds to see the best ending, and in Sonic CD's case, you have to collect all 7 Time Stones, and then you would able to automatically create the good future automatically, if assuming you're able to actually approach on Zone 4, 5, 6, and 7, and hopefully you get the best ending for that as well. And then in this, you have to simply just get all 6 of those Chaos Rings if you want to see the best true ending of the game. So, but you get the idea for that little topic I was talking about right here, so even yeah. I suppose there's one thing I should probably mention about this actually, is the fact that with Charmy B, the player I was going to be playing as, in this, for the sake of this stage, he is outright broken in this game. Because think of like Tails as in the forms within the previous Sonic games that, well, he can't able to fly, just like Tails, although unlike Tails, that Tails gets tired out every time whenever you're able to fly for a certain amount of time. Well, Charmy B never gets tired at all, so he can just essentially just fly through all over the place. Couldn't imagine of how the fact that if the 2-player co-op for this game, yes, I forgot to mention about this since in yesterday's video, and that was the fact that yes, this game does have 2-player co-op option, which even then one player can take control as the leader, and the other player can take control of a, let's just say, a partner companion. You know, kind of like the similar thing before we get on to Sonic Events 3 and during at some point next year. So, but even then, we'll talk more about that game until that particular year comes, until likely on 2021. So, but either way though, you get the idea of that little topic I was talking about. So speaking of today's day actually, it's the fact that today's day is of course the 27th of December, in this case in 2020 today, and it looks like we've only got about likely 5 days left until 2020 is officially over and done with, although I'll talk more about the final thoughts of the entirety of the year whenever we get to the very end, or specifically, we can able to show off some extra bits of this game offers us to, similar to the likes of how it does in Sonic CD, and especially noticeable with the forms of other Sonic related things as well, like Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, both on the GameCube version specifically. Well, when we get to the Dreamcast versions at some point, whenever we get close to Sonic's 30th anniversary, until at some point in next year, which I don't know if we can able to actually do other alterations of some other Let's Plays we might do, like the Master System versions or the Sega Saturn versions of some other Sonic titles here and there, but we'll see what happens when the 2021 is about to start. So, but either way though, that's all I can really think about it. See, I think Special Stage 5 is, in my honest opinion, this is one of the hardest special stages in the game. Most notably because you have to judge your jump distance in order to able to actually make it through some tight platform and what have you. Because if you somehow, again, if you fall off to the pit, the special stage is over. But it also counts as when the fact that if your rings goes all the way to 0, that you'll also get kicked out of the special stages, as you probably already know. But here's the thing about this special stage, along with the final one as well, that every once in a while though is the fact that you now need to jump over to those cuboid kind of platforms in order to be able to progress, because again, if you fall off, then it's already over. So even then I just want to point it out. So yeah, now let's go ahead and obtain the 5th Chaos Ring, which this time around is purple. And I wonder what the last color will be if we manage to obtain the final Chaos Ring, which, either way, we'll find out whenever we get onto the forms of, let's just say, the next stage. So even then though, let's switch over back to Knuckles, and this time around though, we'll choose a different partner companion, which we have, of course we might as well have Mighty, the Armadillo, with us. So, oh yeah, something's worth mentioning about this too, is the fact that, this game does have a day cycle, which even then though, sometimes, depending on what, well, by the way, this is the world entrance world, by the way, for those of you who want to be curious what this world is called, but even then, I will explain more on that later. But first of all, we're about to be heading back onto Marina Madness once again, except now we're going to be hit on to Act 2. So yeah, with the day cycle system is the fact that, you notice on the fact that every time whenever you get into the exact same, world entrance screen, you do realize it's the fact that we actually come across into some sort of like an Eggman time clock, which, depending on what, how many levels you've completed, sometimes the actual day itself decides to change weather-wise, because sometimes it could be either morning, day, evening, or nighttime, which it's a pretty cool idea, especially noticeable how the fact that sometimes the actual, although the level itself might be unchanged in comparison to the forms of, let's just say, it kind of reminds me of something related to the time travel aspect from, Sonic CD, where you're able to actually go through, the past, present, and the future versions of some of these levels themselves, but the only major difference between the three is of course the aesthetics, and especially noticeable with the color palettes and what have you. While this game sort of does the same old deal, except the fact that we don't deal with time traveling aspects, unlike Sonic CD, because obviously this takes place in some sort of like a carnival island, where according to the instruction manual, did manage to point out the plot of the game as it is. So, even then, I haven't really looked upon, you know, that much in terms of the instruction manuals, in terms of likely 16-bit kind of Sonic games. It seems pretty standard stuff for the most part, but it's just the fact of the matter is though, I have not exactly looked upon story as much compared to, you know, the actual gameplay itself, as well as the graphics themselves, and the soundtrack too. So, you know. So yeah, obviously the actual main emphasis on, you know, Marina Madness, as you can see, is the fact that sometimes the actual boat ship decides to able to go up and down a little bit, but if you really want to continue things on throughout the level, you always have to rely on that particular boat ship until you're able to actually progress to the level. So, but even then, at least if you really want to find some goodies in here and there, but either way though, there's not much else I can usually think about it. There's also another secondary partner that we'd like to show off, but we'll save that for later. But that is the forms of Bomb. And some people might don't mind Bomb, but for me, we'll talk more about it later, whenever we get able to actually accidentally access to, you know, Bomb, as in the actual partner companion, so. But you know. And as you can see right there, for about a few seconds ago, is the fact that since my partner Mighty the Armadillo did somehow accidentally got hit by an enemy, luckily he doesn't lose all of the rings. Instead, he only loses only one. So even then though, because of that though, it makes this a little bit generous, especially noticeable how the fact that, especially if you're the leader controlling, well specifically I'm controlling Knuckles as the leader of that particular, you know, the tether ring and stuff like that. Normally, if you get hit by enemies, you lose all of your rings, or scatter them, at least depending of what items you don't seem to have. Like, for instance, that... I think I've already explained about this since, you know, yesterday's video. I'm surely for that anyway. So here we go, folks, on to the 6th and the final special stage, at least specifically if you really want to get all 6 of these Chaos Rings, and this time we need to collect 14 of those blue spheres. In fact, one time whenever I managed the first time playing this game on my own time on the emulator, oh my god, I ended up getting stuck on that specific shifting wall. Well, not so much shifting wall, but it's just that I just got stuck and just didn't go forward. Like, you see why whenever we get on to the later progressioning for the special stage in general. And of course, like obvious, this is one of the hardest special stages in the game. But honestly, it's actually not too hard. It's actually kind of fun, actually. Especially noticeable by simply traversing through the power of the technology of the 32X or something. So even then, but again, it's pretty cool back in the day, since, you know, 1995. I can't even believe this game is now, well, recently 25 years old, which I can't even believe the time itself just went flying, along with other Sega Game Gear games as well. Like, for instance, Sonic Labyrinth and also Sonic Drift 2, even though, oh, and also Tails Adventure and Tails Sky Patrol, but nobody cares about the forms of Sonic Labyrinth because Sonic Labyrinth sucks. But, you know, you get the idea. And of course, as you can tell, for certain special stages, there are, obviously besides the blue spheres that you do need to collect, there's also some other spheres that you're able to actually come across into, such as these bumpers, they're able to bump you back, and also same applies to the forms of that. You know what their little cross signs, as you saw, these are basically like caution signs, but there's also the other 2 spheres that we haven't even come across into. That is both the yellow and green springs, which yellow springs, if you're familiar with the yellow springs since, or the yellow sphere since, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles special stages, you know, with the blue spheres, it allows you to able to once again just fling you forward. Then there's also the green variations, which is kind of like the same thing, except the fact that it actually takes you, like, way higher up in that particular bounce height, which even then, that's as far as I can think of. So even then, that's all I can usually just try to able to discuss on this fact. So, but you know, you get the idea for that little part. This part can get really nerve-wracking right here, but luckily for me, I simply managed to able to avoid the actual pit below. And believe me, that particular part will always throw you off a little bit if you have a first time playing this this particular final special stage in the whole entire game. But you know. And look at that, we got ourselves all 6 of these Chaos Rings, and much like in any other Sonic Let's Plays in the past, I do apologize if there's any some missing Chaos Rings to be seen around here, probably due to the flickeriness in the emulations as far as I'm aware. So now we're done with these special stages for now on, specifically where we get ourselves the true best ending in the whole game, which it wasn't until whenever we get on to, like, let's just say spoiler warning, until at the very end of the year, then we can able to actually just achieve that, so. And now we're turning back onto Factor the Crocodile as the leader, and the partner companion this time we have is Charmy B. So, but either way though, let's see what the stage we can able to play to next. And, well, look at that, we're going back into Marina Madness for the 3rd time. Except now with, you know, different characters and all that stuff. I gotta say, I do really like the actual Marina Madness music, by the way. It's so, like, it does manage to fit really well with the atmosphere of the Sony stages themselves, by the way. At least from my honest opinion for that specific taste. But you know. And I suppose there's another thing I should probably talk about this actually, is the fact that this game doesn't have extra life system. No, every time whenever you're able to actually, like, well, obviously you lose rings, of course, but if you somehow manage to able to get hit, like 0 rings, much like in the past few Sonic titles, you're essentially able to actually die in the previous games and lose a life. However, Knuckles Chaotix do something a little bit more different tradition this time, Because basically, if you get hit while you have 0 rings with your partner, you lose a partner. However, if you do somehow manage to get hit with 0 rings without your partner, instead of able to giving you a game over, instead it actually kicks you out back at the forms of the world entrance world. So, something's worth mentioning for this point too. Plus, this game has no checkpoints whatsoever, just like in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the 8-bit counterparts, if you know what I mean. And I think that could be also said applies to Sonic Chaos. But I digress. So this is the special bonus ring. It kind of reminds me of the Sonic 3 and Knuckles bonus stages for sure. Like, you're able to actually fall down to this endless loop, and while you're at it, you can able to actually grab extra points and extra certain 1-ups, and, well, that's what I can say about it. And the reason why I just managed to leave the actual bonus stage is right here, because I never actually spent a lot of time on that. In fact, we just managed to able to actually hit the exit sign as quickly as I can. Your ring count will go by the seconds. So meaning about the fact that it's actually kind of pointless to able to actually just to go there. Although, in certain special stages, specifically, you know, with the actual, the power of the 32X tube kind of like, you know, collecting all blue spheres kind of type, that I'm actually really care for that, because, you know, meaning to get the best ending of them all. So even then, though, because it actually feels a lot more fun than the bonus areas like I just showed you guys right there. Especially noticeable how the fact that it seems just kind of pointless to go there, just because, well, there was nothing there. Apart from the fact that you're able to actually go for the, some sort of like an endless loop if you go all the way down. So, yeah, don't recommend it. Now if you guys are probably wondering what the hell is going on around here, well, you notice how the fact that we actually got all 6 Chaos Rings in these special stages? Well, as you can see on front, we actually got ourselves a transparent version of that specific special stage, specifically special stage number 1, and basically the reward for this though is that you get a ton of points. And let me just say this right now, screw this. There's no way I'm not gonna able to do this kind of stuff, you know, because, well, aside from able to giving you, like, you know, bonus points in particular, but even then, if you're really up to for that, then it's entirely up to you. But either way, though, it's just the actual, like, a transparent special stage where you can't see what's up ahead, so even then, I found that kind of pointless as well, so... But, you know, you get the idea. Oh boy, we're getting to, folks, the worst stage in the whole game. Or in this case, the worst zone in the game, Amazing Arena. Even though most people seem able to come across into this zone right from the start randomly, because again, with the stage selections system in this game is actually randomized, and because of that though, it's all depending on luck, depending on what levels you're going to be jump into first. So it's just a matter of preference about the fact that if you're expecting to able to go into a very fast, exhilarating level coming up, but it turns out that the actual randomizer thing comes into play whenever you're trying to able to predicting what stage you're going to be going to first, so... I will say that the music is alright for Amazing Arena, it's just I'm not a big fan of the forms of this particular stage, because it's not my cup of tea, because it's almost kind of like a labyrinthy kind of zone like this, even though I'll discuss more details about this whenever we get on to the next part until tomorrow, but either way though, we'll talk more about it by then. And as you can see with Vector right here, in addition to able to actually just to climb onto walls like I just did from the last video, you can also, get this, just manage to able to perform some sort of like a double jump or the actual jump distance in between. And Charmy, can you just get over here? Come on. Yeah, sometimes the actual, your partner companion act out pretty weird most of the time, which even then though, sometimes because he always just clips through like, some stuff like this, even for Charmy's sake. Although there's one thing I should probably talk about this actually, is the fact that you know with that A button, that it allows you to able to actually call the actual partners back. Although it seems pretty handy if they manage to get stuck in certain places. But here's the only downside though, is the fact that every time you press the A button, your rings count will able to take away 10 rings. So think about it, if you're trying to save up for your next special stages, well, specifically if you don't have all 6 Chaos Rings in particular, well, chances are you might as well able to actually waste a lot of those rings if you keep on, like, calling back your partner, which even then though, it does feel a little bit of a waste of opportunity if they're able to actually deal with that stuff. And also, as you can tell, because of how the fact that I just get hit by a lot of enemies on this stage, and most of the time there's going to be a lot of frame drops every once in a while, but either way though, that's just usually I can usually just try to discuss about this fact. But you know. And also we got the, even though there might be, I don't know what do I usually try to call that, but either way though, that's as far as I can say for this point right here. But then again, I'll get into more details about the forms of why most people seem to think, well, most people and I managed to hate this zone so much until at some point in tomorrow, depending on what the actual random stage selection screen we're able to actually play that with, so, but you know. And speaking of which, actually, we'll go ahead and end things off here. So join me next time on Let's Play Knuckles Chaotix. It's the fact that we're also able to go on to a different set of levels or something. But then again, no, we'll see what happens there and join at some point until tomorrow. So yeah, see you guys until tomorrow. Later, fellas.